I found out I could serve a mission again, and this is what makes it my greatest comeback story yet. So, welcome, my Phoenix family, to One Footed Phoenix. I never went out on a proselyting mission just because people made me go. I went because I wanted to be there. And I also just wanted to have the full experience of being a missionary. Of course, for me, being a missionary was about so much more than leaving my home for 18 months or 2 years and having a companion. Oh no. For me, it's a full, faithful commitment, but it's also taking those years of your life where people are normally like the most focused on themselves they can be and turning outward and learning to serve other people is really difficult and really hard, but it's also something that has forever shaped who I am, and it's also shaped the fate of this channel. And it's part of why I wanted to have One Footed Phoenix be here in the first place. Most of all, I wanted the opportunity to share the source of all of my hope, light, and joy. And I felt that if I went on a mission, that that was what God needed me to do. And that came through my own personal connection to God, and that's the only way that it could come for me. However, I just felt like this was my calling in life. And so it was something that I had dreamed about for many years prior to putting in my papers. And being a missionary served me well. I loved being able to share with some of the people that I taught out there, and I found hope and joy, even though the work was really tough and really difficult at times. Then on May 5th of 2018, I was hit by a car on my way to a dinner appointment, and everything changed so quickly. The impact caused the nerve on the inside of my ankle on the left side to be smashed, and that is called the saphenous nerve. It looks like. So it's this nerve right here on the inside of your ankle. It comes kind of down just right below your two kind of bony spurs right there. And it kind of goes right along here. And that is the nerve that was completely smashed in the accident, but on the other side, of course, because now we have nubbin. And for the next 3.5 years after that accident where I was hit on my bike, I was dealing with a raging case of CRPS, or complex regional pain syndrome. This is an extremely painful condition that is usually caused by surgery or by the smashing of a nerve, but every once in a while it can also just kind of occur randomly. And then in 2021, I was faced with trying to make the impossible choice of keeping my leg or amputating it. And it wasn't easy to make that decision at all. There was a lot of prayer and a lot of research medically that went into that decision. But earlier this year, when I turned 26, I really did think that my days of trying to be able to serve a mission again were over for at least quite a while. Because normally, when you turn 26, you are no longer eligible to serve a mission as a young adult, which is still true. But there have been some policy updates that do allow for women who are 26 and over to serve a senior service mission. I had actually tried to apply and do some other service opportunities that would not include wearing the missionary name tag over the last few years, and I got turned down from all of those. For example, when I tried to do a young service mission, it would be like every single day, and it's full time. And it didn't work for me because my health was just really bad at the time. I ended up having to have an ankle surgery right after being home. And then a few months later, I was diagnosed with CRPS. And so there really wasn't a way for me to serve full time. And even like from home, there just wasn't a lot of opportunities out there. And I never expected that 8 years later, I would be offered the opportunity to wear that blessed name tag of a missionary again, until someone saw my potential and saw who I really am. And they didn't just see this girl with a wheelchair that had never finished her mission or that had not had the opportunity to serve the full 18 months, but instead he saw me as a daughter of God and who I really am. And he saw my potential to help people in a glorious and wonderful way, and also for it to be a healing experience for myself too. The last thing that this guy did that is my wonderful friend before he passed away kind of suddenly from cancer was he told me to come and talk to him about the opportunity of serving in our church employment center. And it worked out, and within 2 weeks I was set apart. I had done all the paperwork necessary and I was officially good to go, and I started my training process. And that was about 6 weeks ago when I started serving. So even though I didn't know this guy for very long that was in charge of the employment center here, I am so blessed by his willingness to see me for who I am. And it is forever probably going to be this tender spot in my heart, because I never expected to lose this person that I looked up to, but I also know that he's in a good place. And so, because of someone that said, hey, you can still serve a mission at over 26, I get to wear that beautiful name tag again. And I get to be Sister Phoenix, as many of you have dubbed me, and enjoy being that once again in a very healing way, and in a way that brings this whole story kind of full circle and back to its roots. Now, serving a senior service mission, it is very different from being a young 19-year-old missionary with a companion. In fact, service missionaries, even the young ones, don't actually have companions, and most of the young service missionaries, they live at home while they are completing their service mission. Now, for me, I can still live at home while I'm doing this senior service mission, but the key word here is that it is a senior service mission. And what that means is that this is typically the kind of mission that you're going to see our older population serving in. However, I'm young, and surprise, I am the youngest member of my mission. And I actually really love being a trailblazer in this mission, because it has been such an incredible opportunity to serve again, but also to pave the way for others to be able to serve an unconventional mission like this. There is also a totally different set of rules for those of us who are senior service missionaries. And especially if you're not married, those rules are fairly similar to if you were a married couple also serving a senior service mission. But one of the cool things is that it allows me to still use social media and to continue running this business where I can still reach out to other people. And actually, I'm learning even more about entrepreneurship and how to be a person that can get a job, how to be a person that can talk to people. And those are all very valuable life skills that are going to serve me well in what I do here, but also what I do here on YouTube also serves me and helps me help everybody else that I'm serving in my now mission. It also allows me to have a schedule that works with my chronic pain. And so some of my missionary service is likely going to be virtual. That hasn't completely happened yet, but I'm hoping that my second day of serving my mission will eventually be virtual, and hopefully after I get through a lot of that training process, then I'll know a little bit more about that. But I do have a day where I go in person to the employment office and I help people with things like writing resumes or filling out job applications, I've helped a lot of people as well with interviewing skills, and I just help them practice what an interview is like. If you think back to one of your last job interviews, you might recount that it was probably a pretty terrifying experience. And so we try to take some of the terror out of that experience and help them feel more prepared to go out there and get a job, as well as be more self-reliant. Now, the term self-reliant means that we teach people to basically how to fish for themselves instead of just handing them the fish. And there are times where we do hand people the fish. We will feed hungry people in our church. But a lot of the time, we want to also teach you how to have a living or how to have that job for yourself. It's already been such a cool and healing and just such a special experience to be able to share my light, my joy, and I love how much like full of life I can bring to this team of missionaries here. And they know that, I love greeting people at the door. I love saying, like, come on in. We have a place for you. Like, no matter how tough you think your situation is, I'm pretty sure we can try and find a way to help you. And we see that God helps us do that with people every single day. And it doesn't matter if these people are religious or not, you just see miracles all the time. And often we do pray for people, but if they're uncomfortable with that, that's fine. Like, it's not something that's required when someone comes into one of our employment centers. As well, anyone can come into an LDS employment center, do a get to know you with you. And that's where kind of the magic happens, is when we sit down and take the time to get to know someone on a deeper level, and like the kind of employment they're looking for, the kind of things that they see themselves doing. Those are all things that help us in order to try and send them to the right kind of job placements. And it's really exciting when someone gets a job, because that is our ultimate goal, is to help you have stable employment. And so we do celebrate it a lot when somebody gets a job. We encourage them to come in and ring our bell for "I got a job," and we will celebrate with you. We start cheering, and we kind of have a party whenever that happens. And we're there to cheer people on, and to help them out in any aspect that they may need. Sometimes we have people that come in that are homeless and that need a lot of help, not only from us, but also from some of the other services that are offered around in the same complex. So over the last few weeks, when I've mentioned that on a couple of my social media channels that I am serving a mission again, this is what I mean by it. I love it, and it is something that has really, really been needed in my life. I didn't expect it to happen. It happened just kind of fast, and it was just kind of God's way of saying, hey, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of the time that you've spent in therapy working on things, and I think that you're ready for this. And everything just kind of fell into place, and I cannot be more grateful for the people that helped that fall into place. And if you're still kind of wondering, why is this such a big deal that I get to serve a mission again? And it was hurtful, and it was hard, and I had to make the choice for myself to stay with Jesus and to continue moving forward, and not to just walk away from the very doctrines and hope that I love so very much. And so I hope that if you were out there listening to this video, and why it's such a big deal to do something again that means so very much to me, that you remember that every single day that you go forward from a life-changing disability, it is your choice. You have that choice ultimately to move forward with faith and to move forward with confidence. You also have that choice to remain bitter or angry. And I could have easily made that choice. But the harder choice in many circumstances is the choice to move forward and to try to heal from these difficult experiences, not to dismiss the pain, but to heal it and to allow the one who can heal all pain and all unfairness into our lives. If you want to learn more about letting Jesus into your life, I will put some links down in the description down below where you can find more information about my belief system and about what I truly believe about Jesus Christ. If you would like to see the next video, all about kind of my story coming home from a mission early and some of the things that I went through, you can click over here, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.